So, just told somebody we're on page 59, the four R's of RU, chapter 4. We're talking about faith. We're talking about the power of faith. Faith depends on its object. We can't have faith in something that's not a physical. Faith has to have an object. We can't have faith in faith. Okay, we have to have faith in an object. And so we need to know what the object is to determine our amount of faith. The next one is the depth of our faith is determined by the depth of our knowledge. The strength of our faith is determined by our understanding of the thing we have faith in. And I use the example of chairs. And they just got 100 of these chairs over there. And I went and told somebody, I said, you know, those chairs are not good chairs. And they're like, why? It's because they're held up with screws that come in from the side. And so the screws pull out, the seat comes off, there's no fixing it. It's just gone. Now, as opposed to these chairs, which are good chairs because they sit on a metal rail. Okay, you're not going to break one of these chairs unless a weld lets loose, and that's probably not going to happen. But one of those chairs, they're the same as the ones I had in my room at the start of the school year. That past school year, I had 12 of those. At the end of the school year, I have 3. Because just the kids sitting on them, and they're not big kids, they're just sitting on them all the time, and the screws come off. So it's not a strong thing to have faith in. So we have to have knowledge about what we're having faith, because we don't know God. When we don't have a lot of understanding about the object of our faith, it's hard for us to make the sacrifice that faith demands. Faith demands a sacrifice. The amount we're willing to trust in something comes on a level with how much confidence we have in it. It's like when I sit down on one of these chairs, I don't even think about it. I just sit because I have faith in it, I have understanding, I have knowledge. When I sit in one of those chairs, always in the back of my mind is this the time? It's not going to be end up on the floor because it could happen. Just because. So does that make sense a little bit? And the illustration I use is if I had $10. I'd be anybody's room, you know, Chris, you want to hold this for me? Not a big deal. I trust you guys. If I had $1 million, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know. Let me look around here. I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know you very well. I don't know. But you understand? So it's the amount. It's how much am I willing to sacrifice according to how much faith I have. $10 is not a big sacrifice. Now $1 million. That's a sacrifice. In my mind, if I had $1 million, I'd probably give it away because it would kill me anyway. But, our faith, how much sacrifice you're willing to make is how much confidence you have on the other end of that thing. And it's fine to say, oh, well, I trust God. I have faith in God. But the reality is, for myself, I won't try to talk for you, I don't have all that much faith in God because I just don't trust Him. I mean, that's the result of my life, is I come up to things where it's a matter of faith, and I'm like, I pull back. I'm just being honest with you. It's not, I shouldn't. He is absolutely trustworthy. I just don't have the faith, even though I have the absolute knowledge. I know I can trust Him. But I see many times in my life where I pull back from faith because the reality is I don't trust Him. And God, see, God doesn't get upset with that either. God knows that. And He's not going to ask me right off the bat to have this much faith. He's going to give me a win. He's going to show me that I can. And then He's going to do something else where I have faith and He comes through for me. And He will help me build my strength, strengthen my, exercise my faith. That's a good word. Because as you exercise, you build muscle. As you exercise your faith, it gets stronger. He's not going to give me, if I went into the gym and I pick up, the Olympic bar, the 45-pound bar, and I put, let's say I have about 125 pounds, and so I can probably press that, on my back and bench press. But He's not going to give me 300 pounds the first time because I can't. I just don't have. I'm not strong enough. But maybe in 10 years, maybe after a while I could. After I have done it for a while. So God knows that, but we have to have that confidence, and we need to be working on it all the time. Our ability to please God is directly related to our faith in Him. our ability to please God. And I say that, yes, he does talk about us pleasing him. We can only do it through faith. The reality is we really can't please God. It's not like I do something and God says, oh, that is so cool that you did that. God's not interested in that anyway. I can't do anything for God. I work, I can. Well, that's, well, languages here. God doesn't need me to do anything for him. That's a better way to say it. He has no needs. He has everything. When I do the things that he has set in front of me, it makes him happy. Like our kids, I don't need my kids to do things for me, but when they do, it makes me really happy. I like that. And in that sense, we please God. But the more faith we have, he looks at it and says, I like that. It's like he's our trainer. He says, oh, look at that. When I was lifting weights, believe it or not, I did that for 2 years. Me and Tyler went out to our pastor actually, and he used to be a trainer for a bunch of famous gyms up in Minnesota. He worked for Mr. Abbott's for a while, ran his health clubs and stuff. So he knew how to do weightlifting, and he would like train different parts of our body, but he'd just kill us piece at a time every single day. So when we started going out there, he would assess us and say, this is what we're able to do. So he would tell us to do just a little bit more than that. We're like, I can't. You know that. He says, no, you will. And then we would, because we tried. But he would just add a little bit more. He would add a little bit more because he knew. And that's what God does for us. Okay? And when we would make the effort, you know, you get down there to the last, you know, you're doing, say, bench presses, and you get it where you're just trembling like this, you know, and they're standing there, and it won't fall down, you break your neck or anything, so grab it. And they, you know, you get it down, and they say, just one more. And you're like, I can't. You can't. And they just start yelling at you, calling you names, and you do one more, and it's like, yeah, and that pleases them because you made the effort. And that's what God wants us to do. Okay? And here's that's kind of where we're going to start, I think, right there. Our ability to please God is related to our faith. Hebrews 11:6. Without faith, it's impossible to please him, God. For that's me, that cometh to God must believe that he is. God is. That he is God. When it says believe that he is what? God. And that he's a rewarder of them who diligently seek him. I know when I do what God asks me to do, God's going to reward me. That's what he does. It's not because I did it. He just he loves to reward us. He wants to do that. Okay? You know, it's like a little kid that doesn't do the things that parents ask them to do, and then doesn't understand why they won't take him out to McDonald's or to an ice cream or whatever. It's like, well, you didn't. Why would I? And it's because you love me and I'm just so wonderful. No, you didn't do anything I asked you to do. I'm not going to reward you for that. And you know, and then we start expecting rewards for the things that are our expected chores. I don't know about you parents, but when Tyler, he had chores to do. That was his chores. It was expected of him. And when I come home and I see that his chores were done, I didn't like, oh, you're so wonderful, you did your chores. No, that was just expected. Now, if he did something extra, then I would reward him. Or if he did his chores without me having to ask him for a long period of time, which was different and unusual, then there was a reward in that. But you wouldn't if you reward somebody for doing what they're supposed to do, you're in trouble, because then they're only going to do it if you reward them, not because they're supposed to do it. We're supposed to do what we're supposed to do because that's what we're supposed to do. You know, that's this thing about the reasonable sacrifice. That's our reasonable sacrifice. He goes through this list of things like, you know, that we're supposed to do, and we're thinking, wow, this is amazing. He says, that's just your reasonable sacrifice. You ain't done nothing yet. That's not special. You're like, whoa, it feels special to me. And he's like, no, that's just reasonable. Do something above that to impress me. But God does reward us, and he does take good care of us. God's not interested in our actions. We talked about that in the first talk. He wants a relationship. Because of faith, we do the things that he asks us to do. Because we believe him. You know, when God asks us to do things, we're like, I don't know about that, God. I don't know if I can. He says, trust me, and you can. He gives us strength. That verse I was talking about, Proverbs 31, thank you, verse this morning. Oh my soul, it's been so long. I just wrote it this morning. She's clothed, the virtuous woman is clothed in strength and honor. And God does that for her. It's not that she gets on her strength. She says, I have this strength. Look at my strength. This is, she's weak and can't do anything. And it says, and it doesn't have to be a she, it's us. If we will go to God in weakness, He gives us strength for us to wear, to put on. That's what our faith is. And so we, because of our faith, we do what He asks. The more faith we have, the more faith we have. Oh wow, these words are all jumbled up here. The more faith we have, the more things we will do. And the more things that we do, the more faith that we will have. And the more faith that we have, the stronger we get. So the more that we can do, the more that He will ask us to do. And that's how faith grows. Because He enables us to do the things. And He's always going to ask us to do a little bit more than we think we can. Every time. And He knows that we can, we just don't know that yet. But again, on the other side of that, all of our best works are filthy rags to God. It's not like God is impressed that we did something. That's not it at all. I can't impress God. He created the universe by speaking. So the very best I can do is nothing to Him. But that doesn't mean that He doesn't appreciate it and understand the work that we took to do it. But it's not like I am so impressed with you, Tim. Look what you did. It's I'm pleased that you obeyed me and had faith, Tim. And I love you, that you trusted me enough to do that. Isaiah 64:6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all of our righteousnesses are as filthy rags. And we do all fade as a leaf, and our iniquities, like the wind, have taken us away. We're born in iniquity. We have a sin nature. We are going to sin. We're going to mess up. We have no wisdom. All the things that we have are as nothing to God. What God wants is for us to get rid of all those things that we have so that He can replace them with the things that He has. That's what He wants. That's our life of sanctification is our journey towards where we were originally created. Because we were created, Adam was perfect, and Eve, they were perfect. They had no sin. And once we sinned, things started going wrong. So the journey is always back towards that original creation. That's what God's trying to do in us, to create in us, to recreate in us the image of Christ. Now, it's not going to happen in this lifetime, okay? Until we get to heaven and our sin nature is removed, then we can become again into that image of Christ. But our life after salvation here is a journey towards the image of Christ. That's what faith is all about. We have faith. We give up the things that are us. Our sin nature, all those things. We give all that up, and He replaces it with what He wants to be there. That's what that journey is. It's Him replacing the stuff that is all messed up in our life, in every area of our life. He's replacing it with what He originally designed for us to be at the creation of the universe. And it's a journey to having that image of Christ. And we are participants in this. We are the ones that do the work. We're the ones that take the step. It's our muscles that have to do the work. God tells us what to do. He tells us how to do it. He gives us strength to do it. He doesn't do it for us. That's us. That's me getting up in the morning, Quinn, and saying, I'm going to do this, whether I feel it or not. It's me, when the thing that comes up, that sin that comes up so often, and I can either say, yeah, let's go with this, or I say no. The old commercial, just say no, right? Just say no. That's our job, is to say no. And we may not have the strength to not do it, but we can say no. When we say no, God gives us strength to not do it. But we got to say no and mean it first. Then He'll give us the strength do the resisting. It's his strength, and he will give it to us, but we have to take that first step. He's not going to do it for us. How many times have I prayed, God, take this away from me? He's like, okay, but you got to start. You got to start. I'm like, I don't want to start. I want you to take it away from me. I just want it to be gone. And he's like, okay, I will, but you got to start. I'm like, I don't want to start. I want you to take it away from me. Don't you hear me, God? He says, I hear you, but I'm not taking it away from you until you start. And you show me that you're serious about this thing, and you start. Then I will come alongside. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and he will establish your thoughts. I've got to do the committing part first, and that means to just do what he wants me to do because he wants me to do it. To do everything for and from him. Just say, I don't even know how to do this, but I will because you said to. I'm going to try. I'm going to commit to doing it. And as I do that, he gives me the strength, the directions. But I've got to continue taking the steps. And the cool part is, as I do that, in the background kind of, he comes around behind me and takes care of things that I don't even know he's taking care of until I realize those thoughts are not even there anymore. That's what the freedom is. He will take the things away. He'll take the fears away. He'll take the lust away. He'll take the thoughts away. He'll take the whatever it is. But as we're working on doing the committing, the relationship with him, and focused on him, we're not even aware what he's doing until all of a sudden we just realize, wow, it's not like it was. He has done things. I can't explain it to you, but it works. But it takes us to take the first steps, always. There's nothing that he needs us to do. He's pleased when we let him shape us. It's always got to be us letting him do. God never goes where he's not invited. We've got to continually be inviting him to do whatever he wants done, the way he wants it done, when he wants it done. I'm pretty good about being impatient. Come on, let's get this taken care of, God. You haven't done anything yet. He says, well, I have, and I am, and I will, but you got to wait for my time. It's not ready yet because you're trying to force me. You're telling me what to do here, God. Stop it. Don't tell me what to do. Just do what I tell you to do. As Isaiah 64:8, which is he doesn't need us. You understand that? In that sense, we need him. God doesn't need us. He wants us, and he loves us, but he doesn't need us. But we do need him. 64:8 says, but now, O Lord, thou art our Father. We are the clay. Thou art our potter. We are all the work of thy hand. The potter and the clay is just an illustration that used all the time. If you ever, as a little kid, played with clay, you can make it in anything you want. The clay doesn't decide what it wants to be. That would be freaky, wouldn't it? You're working with a piece of clay and says, I'm a cow! No, it's not. It doesn't work that way. The clay doesn't decide. The person that's molding the clay decides. And the clay's like, this is so cool. Look, I'm a cow. I'm a unicorn. Look what he made me into. I'm a tree. I'm a log. Logs are easy. You roll them out. I'm a snake. I'm a worm. But the clay doesn't decide what he wants to be. But we're always trying to tell God what we should be and how he should make us and what he should do. He says, God, you need to make me like this. And he's like, just be quiet and let me work. Okay, do what let me mold you. Let me mold you. Yes.
But the be still, know I am the Lord, right? Like that's what I think you're.
Yes.
I have a lot of questions for Lily.
Yeah, we need to be quiet. We are way too noisy. Sometimes God says you just need to drink a big glass and shut up. And then go and refill and drink another. Just because, relationship is built on communication. The most important part of communication is not talking, it's listening.
True.
And relationships are built on listening, not on talking. They really are. Most, if you used to tell Tyler, you go on a date with the girl, what do I do? What do I do? You ask me a couple of questions, just be quiet. And that's what you do. You get them to talk. That's how you learn a lot of nice things that way. Just pretend like you know and ask a question, and they'll just tell you all the things you didn't know to start with. But that's another thing. We ask him to show us his will, and then when he shows us his will, we back down from doing what he's asked us to do, or we tell him that's not the right will. Well, how many times you pray, God, show me your will. What do you want me to do? And he tells us, and we're like, are you sure? That was just like, no, I just told you, yes, I am sure. Just do it. Why ask if you're not going to listen? We do that so often. God is pleased that we ask, but he's saddened when we won't listen and follow and do what he says. He wants us to ask. But it's not just about asking. It's not even just about listening. We have to do what he says. If all the other stuff is great, but if we won't do it, it's useless. It doesn't do any good. I ask students, how do you work this problem? Well, I tell them, I lay it out. I think, okay, now it's your turn, you do it. Tell me again how to do this problem. No, I just told you, you have to do it or you're not going to learn it. It's never going to be yours until you pick it up and put it on and wear it for a while, no matter what it is. And well, I don't know how to. Yes, you do. What did I say? Rehearse my words. Listen to what I said. Think about what I said. Go through the instructions. Read the instructions again. You can do it. One of the things I hate more than anything with students is when they say, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. It's like, yes, you can. Here's the thing. You're right either way. If you say you can't, you're right. But if you say you can, you're right. If you say you can, you're right. If you say you can't, you're right. It doesn't matter. Which one do you want? If you want to do it, understand that you can and do it. It may not be right the first time, but try it again. Work at it. You can do it. When you say you can't, you might as well just go home and pull the cover, get in bed and pull the cover over your head. Because ain't nothing going to happen if you're not even willing to try. And the thing is, God wouldn't ask you, will never ask you to do something that you can't do. Never. He will not. It may seem impossible, and without him, it may be impossible. But if we will allow, invite, we can do it because he's the one telling us to do it. Think about the verse, be holy for I'm holy. I thought about that a lot. I said, God, you've got to be kidding. Me? I can't be holy. I am so far from holy. There's no way in the world. But that's a commandment from God. So there must be a way for me to do it. And there is. But it's from him. My holiness comes from him. He gives it to me. It's not from me. It's from God gives it to me. And therefore I can be because he gives it to me. It's not from me. God never tells us to do things we can't do. And we take control. When we take control, we're no longer walking in faith. He tells us, we're all constantly telling God how we should do things. And it's just so sad because we don't have the slightest idea. We just don't know. We think we do, but we don't. Many times we tell God that if he'll increase our faith, then we'll do what he's asking, right? God, give me more faith. And he says, no, just try it. Because the only way you're going to increase your faith is to do it. Exercise the faith you have. That's the way faith grows. So he says, if we will do what he's asking, then he'll increase our faith. We say, show me and I'll do it. He says, no, you do it and I'll show you. That's the way God works. So, well, I can't do it because you haven't showed me yet. He says, yes, you can. Just try. Just you try. You take the first steps. You follow my leading. Do what I tell you, and I'll show you that you can do it. But I'm not going to show you that until after you've done it. Until after you try and after you start. You've got to take the start on this. Faith is acting before we can see. Faith is trusting and knowing that he'll deliver. That's what hoping in God is. It's not like, oh, I hope I get this for Christmas. That's not what hoping in God is. Hoping in God is, look right here, it says, I can do this. Therefore, I can do this. I know God's going to do this because he said, I haven't seen it yet. I don't even know how it'll work, but I know it's going to work because it's right there. So all I have to do is do what he said, and he will deliver. I'm hoping in something I haven't seen yet. It's a sure hope. It's the sure hope that he is going to do what he said he will do. That's where faith comes in. Faith. I have faith that he'll do it because he said he will. I know he will. I just have to act as if I really believe that. Because sometimes it is an act. But he really will do it. Faith is a hard thing. Faith is not fun when we're struggling with increasing, being stronger. And sometimes we need to take baby steps. Sometimes we need to just keep on putting one foot out there. But what was it? Pastor, I think it was probably out in California, Pastor Roll one time said, you know what? He says, I kept trying to have a good month. And I fail. So I'm just going to take it down. I'm just going to have a good day. And he said, I couldn't even have a good day. He says, well, I'm going to have a good hour. He said, you know what? I can have a good hour. And then once the hour's up, I'm going to start my clocking, and I have another good hour. And I'm going to have another good hour. And I had a good day. And I'm going to get up tomorrow, and I have a good hour. And pretty soon I have 2 good days. And before you know it, I had a good month. And I quit trying to have this big thing. I just take this little one, and I can do it, and I got it. And then I can take the next little thing, and I can do it, and I got it. And that's what God wants us to do. We have I want the huge right now thing. He says, just I get there, but let's take the little one first. Because that's how we work. How much manna did he give them in as they were crossing for 40 years? How much manna did he give them every day? 1 day's worth. 1 day's worth. And if they got more than 1 day, it said it stunk and turned into worms, and it was just nasty. Because they were going to go out and get a bunch, so they didn't have to get anything tomorrow. He says, no, I'm giving you 1 day's worth. And they learned to trust that. Because after the first little while, you never heard them talking about manna anymore. Do you know their shoes never wore out the entire for 40 years? Their shoes didn't wear out. The Bible said so. But watch this. That's what God wants you to take 1 day. Take 1 day. Pretty soon you got a week, and then you got a month, and you got a couple of months. You know what? And I messed up. I blew it. I just better quit. No. Let's just have another day. Let's have another day. Let's have another day. A good man falls 7 times. That means he gets back up again. Where the wicked are just taken away in evil. They're just gone. So just take it a little step at a time. We can do that. And then take another little step. We can do that. And pretty soon you look behind you. You know, the greatest journey starts with 1 step. Okay? The road goes ever on and on. Be careful, Frodo. You open that door and you take that first step. Because you never know where it's going to take you. That's Lord of the Rings. You don't know. All right. Let's go ahead and stop. We got anything else? Yeah.